I know. It's been roughly 3 weeks since I did my last YouTube episode on Nagorno-Karabakh. However, let me welcome you today to number 18. And let me start off this episode with two quotations from two residents of Nagorno-Karabakh. I'm the only resident left in the village. 14 families with 20 children lived here, but they moved to other villages where development is possible without the landmines. This was a resident of Nagorno-Karabakh, Oksen Bagdasaryan. And the second quotation from Mikhail Merjumyan said, "When you're clearing mines, I know you're not clearing it just for people like me, but for the whole community. It's a powerful mission that you're carrying out here, and it means safety for my kids, for their kids, and also for all of Artsakh." Now you might be wondering, and you would have every right to wonder, why is Harry starting this number 18 with two quotations from two residents in Nagorno-Karabakh whom he's never met in his life? After all, if I wanted to impress you with something topical, I would probably talk today about the case of the prisoners of war who are still held in Azerbaijan and not being released, despite a statement by OSCE, and as an indication, I suppose, of the power plays between Russia and Turkey in the region. They're paying the price, don't they always? The ordinary man or woman. I could have also spoken to you about the connections that are being mooted in the region, forming axes, Iran, Russia, Turkey, and also Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. Or that one topic that always attracts the attention of many Armenians, George Soros. Is he the builder of Armenia, or is he the destroyer of Armenia? And finally, I could have even had a very satirical episode on the so-called War Museum or the War Trophy Park in Baku that the Aliyev presidency has built, which really is not a celebration of Azeri victory and Armenian defeat per se. It is an attempt to humiliate Armenians in their defeat. Now, some commentators have said that it also reflects President Aliyev's insecurity. I would go a step further, and I would say it is not insecurity, because people like that aren't even aware of their insecurity. It's more a smallness of spirit. No, today I'm going to talk about the HALO Trust, an organization that I wasn't familiar with, and I only discovered quite a few years back when I saw a picture of Lady Di, the Princess of Wales, walking through a minefield in Rwanda with her son, Prince Harry, behind her. And I was told that this is the HALO Trust, that it basically goes into war zones or conflict zones, helps remove landmines and war ordinances, and basically provides for the safety and the security of the residents of that particular area. I was also told that HALO Trust worked in places like Syria, although I think it's winding down there now, major operations in Afghanistan, and wait for it, here is the connection with Nagorno-Karabakh. Now, I've been told, I've never been to the enclave of Nagorno-Karabakh, but I've been told that it's a remote, we know that, and also beautiful place in the South Caucasus. But unfortunately, such beauty is tempered by the fact that it is also a land where its people have been haunted by the presence of landmines for more than 2 decades as a result of the 1988-1994 war in Karabakh between Azerbaijan and Armenia, of course. In fact, there have been more landmine accidents per capita in Karabakh than anywhere else in the world. A quarter of the victims happen to be children. Isn't it remarkable what the internet does these days in terms of details? Now, HALO Trust, since 2000, has cleared almost 500 minefields in Nagorno-Karabakh. That's quite an achievement, making the land safe and also, of course, transforming the lives of more than 130,000 people. HALO employees, largely Armenian, have visited schools and communities to teach people, especially children, how to stay safe until all the landmines are gone. But landmines have not been the only challenge. When fighting broke out for a brief spell in 2016, homes and gardens were also left strewn with more explosives that threatened more of local lives. HALO employees, largely Armenian, reacted immediately, working with the rescue service to remove the dangerous items. Now, this is fine. This is good. It's an organization that relies heavily on funding from both government and private individuals. It has helped in Nagorno-Karabakh as it has in other parts of the world. So where is the story, you might ask me? Well, the story is simply that a few weeks ago, allegations were made in the Armenian media about the HALO Trust activities in Nagorno-Karabakh. It seems a certain Mr. Avakian, whom I've never met and I don't know, but apparently was at the time an advisor to the Armenian president of Artsakh. He made claims which said that HALO had supplied minefield maps to the Turkish military during the war. Now, HALO, of course, refuted this allegation and added that as part of their humanitarian duty, they've shared survey data with the Azerbaijan Mine Action Authority and the United Nations, but that any suggestion that they'd spoken to the Turkish military was entirely spurious and false. In fact, a statement later followed sometime around mid-March, if I'm not mistaken, by the Nagorno-Karabakh president's press official, which also stated that Mr. Avagian's views or statements did not reflect the president's opinion on the organization, which continues to operate in Artsakh. So when I've got this idea of this fairly small organization working in different parts of the world, making them safe for ordinary men, women, and children, and then suddenly after this bitter 6-week war where Armenians suffered defeat, that these statements suddenly become mentioned in the Armenian press, it made me quite uneasy. Why? Well, you know why. Because such accusations are dangerous. You can't just throw accusations like that. They have consequences. So, of course, I said, on what basis have these allegations been made? And which party, who? The politics in Armenia at the moment is so fragmented that there are different parties speaking counter each other. So who was trying to undermine HALO and why? Now, my instinct tells me, and it's only an instinct, I do not have any papers, I haven't seen any evidentiary documents, I haven't been able to read anything about these allegations and about this, dare I call it soap, dare I call it a storm in a teacup, I don't know. But I think my sense tells me that this was the reason of the paranoia, the anger of the defeat that was felt by some people. And these people, instead of looking at their own institutions and saying, where did we go wrong? They basically started finding spies and enemies outside the system. Now, who are these people? You would not be surprised if I tell you, or perhaps you would be surprised if you don't know the scene well enough, that every camp accuses the other camp of saying these things. So, did it come from the Pashinyan camp in Armenia? Did it come from the disparate opposition parties that have been tenting and protesting day in, day out? Did it come from the Armenian government or officials in Nagorno-Karabakh itself? Did it actually come from Russia? Has Russia had a role to play in it? Has Turkey had a role to play in it? Because Russia has become very well entrenched in the region as a consequence of the war, and Turkey has become fairly entrenched in the region as a consequence of the war as well, in opposite camps. So who said what and why? I ask this question not only as an academic question, I ask this question also because at the end of the day, the HALO Trust brings in money to Artsakh or Nagorno-Karabakh. It also provides employment to some 150 people. So we have to measure our words. We have to weigh our statements before we make them. Now, I'm not sitting here being the defense counsel for HALO Trust. I'm not sure if they need it. And if they do, I know they have their own lawyers in Armenia. So I'm not on a retainer, and I don't have any interest or any profit from batting for this group or for that group. All I'm saying as an Armenian who is concerned about the long-term interests of Armenia and of Armenians, be it in the Republic or in what remains of a fragmented Nagorno-Karabakh, or even for those outside in the diaspora, I'm concerned that we have to be sure of what we are saying, or those who are making the claims must be sure of their claims before they utter them. Now, some people might say, hey, Harry, stop being so academic, stop being so haughty. At the end of the day, there is no smoke without fire. And if somebody said something, and if the media carried it, then there must be some truth in it. Perhaps. But others would counterclaim that this is really a case of sour grapes, because the West did not help Armenia in this war. In fact, there was hardly any solidarity from the EU and from America and from other Western countries. And that perhaps we're witnessing a classic case of cutting off one's nose to spite one's face. I don't know. All that matters to me is that this is dangerous and it could have consequences. Armenians today stretched as they are with all the challenges facing them in Armenia and in the fragmented, divided, fractured enclave, do not need more conflicts. They do not need more adversaries. They do not need more bad press. Now, I know also that there are cases now, there are investigations happening. So this story is pretty much qualifies or classifies as a lite pendente, what we lawyers call subject to litigation. So I can't really go into more details, even if I knew anything more, which I'm not sure that I do. But all I would say is that let's see the evidence. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's not draw in international actors without having any proof. Let's not rely on circumstantial evidence. Let's not basically rely on argumentative claims, but let us only rely on corroborative facts. Do we have them? If we have them, I will be the first person to do another episode in which I will basically dissect, analyze, legally, politically, ethnically, if you want, the situation. But at the moment, it doesn't seem to me that this is the case. And therefore, all I'm saying, no need to rub our noses in it, no need to make claims that put people's lives in danger at the end of the day. And let us remember that these are people who have helped us since 20 years ago. And therefore, let us have some reasonable doubt, unless, and I say unless, we have facts, in which case we have to put them on the table. Meanwhile, I'll wrap up this number 18. I think I've taken enough of your time, and I might have irritated a few people in the process, but that's me. I wouldn't say that's what lawyers do. I would say that's what I sometimes do with my own opinions. Let me wrap it up. You know what they say. Speech is silvern. Sometimes silence is golden. So I hope that somehow there will be an amicable resolution to this case. After all, this is conflict resolution in the making. And I really hope that somehow we will not let our own personal feelings intrude in the way we see others. Let us be open-minded, and if need be, let us then make our case. Take care, and all the best to you.